Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good evening. Today is November 5th, and you know what that means? It's election day. It's a day that both parties, both presidential campaigns, have been either dreading or have been looking forward to. A lot of people have invested their money, time, and energy into ensuring that the results on this day will go in their favor. So, and what's unique about this election is that it's razor thin. And that's not the only thing that's unique about this election. It's been, to say the least, it's been a roller coaster of a ride. From Joe Biden dropping out to Kamala Harris stepping in as the new president to Donald Trump's assassination attempt. There have been a lot of unexpected things that have happened over the campaign. So that's why I'm particularly invested in this election cycle. And being a non-voting member of, and not a part of the electorate, but being an upcoming member in the electorate, being a part of Gen Z, who are going to be making up the majority of the voting politic in the upcoming presidential elections, I think my perspective can add a different, a more conclusive and more comprehensive take to the already mainstream takes on this presidential election. Now, if you look at the polls, I know the polls are not entirely accurate. It's just a singular data point. As to support that point, you can look back to 2016 and to 2020, where the polls severely underestimated Donald Trump's appeal. And if you look at the polls this time around, there's going to be 7 swing states. Both candidates are within a point or two of one another in these 7 swing states, and those states are Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Those are the 7 swing states in this election. Now, for me, I think it's going to come down to the blue states, the blue wall in the Rust Belt. Either candidate, Kamala Harris, if she wins all 3 states in the Rust Belt, she will win the presidency. She will have exactly 270 electoral votes. If the other polls, which are in which Kamala Harris is winning the other states by a pretty handily margin, if that is to be believed, she will be the next president of the United States. Donald Trump, on the other hand, it is really important for him to win at the very least, 1 out of these 3 states for him to win the presidency, for him to have any chance of winning the presidency, matter of fact. Now, in my personal opinion, it's going to come down to the low propensity voters, the voters that are not necessarily the most engaged in politics, not going to go above and beyond in their participation in politics and local politics. And it's also going to come down to the undecided voters who are on the edge of their seats, are undecided in whether to choose, whether to vote for Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. It's going to come down to a voter like that in these Rust Belt states. And ultimately, I think the issue that is the most convincing and is going to play the most important and meaningful role in these Rust Belt states is abortion. Unlike the other issues that are also popular among voters, like the economy and immigration, abortion is binary. Repeals on abortions and abortion bans, they have a ready impact and a visual, like you can see the impact that abortion bans and abortion appeals can make, and that impact is immediate. Whereas the economy and immigration legislation on those 2 policy proposals are not immediate. They are they can take time to suffuse into into America's mainstream, into America's public livelihood, and to really see the effects of such legislation on everyone. You can look back to like an act like Medicare. The effects of Medicare weren't felt immediately. It took time, it took years for people to truly experience the benefits of an act like Medicare. So when people go into that voting booth, I think that when it really comes down to it, they are going to have abortion at the front of their mind, and they're going to vote on abortion. And consequently, I do think Kamala Harris is going to win. Voters trust Kamala Harris on abortion significantly more than they trust Donald Trump on that issue. The messaging, I would have to say the messaging from Kamala Harris's campaign on abortion is was one of the strong points of the campaign. I wouldn't say the campaign was anything special, but that was one of the bright spots in that campaign. And when it comes down to it for Donald Trump, his campaign has been a bit lackluster. His messaging has not really appealed and has not really widened his following and his support. It's mostly appealed to his already pretty secured, pretty zealous voter base. So yeah, I think Kamala Harris, when it comes down to the undecided, to low propensity voters, they're going to be voting based on abortion and issues that readily affect their livelihoods. And you could see that in the Seltzer poll for Iowa. Iowa, considered to be a pretty deadlock, pretty set in stone Republican state. Seltzer, a grade A poll, suggested that Kamala Harris is winning that state by 3 percentage points in the poll that they conducted. And it goes to show that people, women in particular, and people in general, are really feeling the effects of abortion and are making their decision to vote for a candidate based on abortion. Yeah, I think that more women are going to vote for Kamala Harris. I think that the low propensity voters are going to vote for Kamala Harris. The undecided voters are going to vote for Kamala Harris. So though the polls suggest that this race is going to be close, I do not think that this race in the end is going to be close on the electoral map. I think Kamala Harris is going to win all 3 of the blue wall states, the Rust Belt states. I think she's going to win in North Carolina, and that's going to give her a pretty handy victory, to say the least. And yeah, I think the aftermath of this election is not going to be pretty, as we saw in Donald Trump in 2020. He incited his followers to commit an insurrection of sorts. He had a lot of violent rhetoric. He attempted to overthrow the integrity of the democratic institution that is America. And I think that something similar to this can potentially, and is probably likely to happen following the 2024 election if Donald Trump ultimately loses, and if my prediction is correct. And I think that's something that we should be prepared for as a population, to truly condemn and counteract such negative behavior. I want to conclude this video by giving a message for you guys. No matter what the results of this election is, whether that's on a state level, a local level, a congressional level, or the presidency, if your desired candidate doesn't win, the most important thing to keep in mind is to remain civil, to remember that we are all human beings, and that politics is about the betterment of our country, a country that we all love. So keeping civil, keeping our discussion and our disagreements humane, and to have a discourse that doesn't harm or incite any violence is imperative. So I hope all of you guys enjoy Election Day. Keep in touch with the news, and keep in line, keep checking the election and how the election is going in terms of the voting count. And yeah, let's see who wins. I'm looking forward to it. And if you like the video, please drop a like, subscribe, please. And if you have any comments for me as to whether you like this video or any upcoming video topics that you would like me to cover in the space of politics and civics, please let me know. Please drop a comment. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.